date has been announced. The battle lines have been drawn.
Campaigning for the presidential election will now begin in earnest.
Some historic developments occurred in Sri Lanka's political arena today, following months of speculation and political horse trading.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
Maithripala Sirisena named the common candidate, pledges to appoint Ranil Wickremesinghe as Prime Minister if elected. Common candidate promises to abolish executive presidency within 100 days of assuming office. President confident of a 29th election victory. Party secretaries meet with the Commissioner of Elections, calls for a free and fair election.
Mahinda Deshapriya issuing an extraordinary gazette notification states that the presidential elections will be held on the 8th of January 2015. Accordingly, nominations will be called on the 8th of December.
Maithripala Sirisena, the immediate past General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, announced at a media briefing convened today that he is the common candidate of the opposition for the upcoming presidential election. Sirisena also announced that if elected, he would abolish the executive presidency within 100 days of assuming office. He also pledged to appoint opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe as the Prime Minister.
Maithripala Sirisena attended the media briefing held at the new town hall in Colombo today, along with former President Chandrika Bandaranayake Kumaratunga. MPs Dr. Rajita Senaratne, Duminda Disanayake, MKDS Gunawardena, Professor Rajiva Vijayasinghe and Arjuna Rantunga were also present at the media briefing. Speaking first, Maithripala Sirisena explained the reasons for his decision.
මේ රට යන්නේ පැහැදිලිව පේනවා පහුගිය අවුරුදු කීපය තුල රටේ නායකත්වයේ සහ පාලනය යන ගමන් මඟ දෙස බලන විට
over the past several years, when looking at the path of the leadership and the rule of this country, it is evident that the country is moving towards a beautified dictatorship. Elections are held, concessions are given, development takes place. Elections are held with smiling faces, but there are many things which impact us and the people which transpire underneath. Corruption, fraud, irregularity, injustice and unfairness are widespread. A single family has grabbed hold of the entire nation's economy, wealth and political management. In this situation, those of us here and the MPs and ministers of the SLFP who will join us in the coming days thought about this and decided that we must resolve this matter. We informed the other political parties of our decision. We reached an agreement. There was consensus. As the SLFP secretary, I did not think for a moment that the UNP and other fraternal parties would select me as the common candidate. My experiences as health minister over the past 4.5 years have been extremely bitter. My loving wife Jayanti, my children Chaturika, Charani and Daham, they all said to me, "Father, we are ready to die if need be. Take the decision you must take. We cannot continue to bear these pressures." They said they could see the mental stress that I was undergoing as the SLFP secretary and as a government minister.
මම සෞඛ්‍ය ඇමති වේදිකේට පහුගිය අවුරුදු 4මාරේ මගේ අත්දැකීම් ඉතාම කටුකරයි. මගේ ආදරණීය බිරිඳ ජයන්ති, මගේ දරුවන් චතුරිකා, තරණි, දහම්, මේ සියලු දෙනා කිව්වේ තාත්තේ අපි මැරෙන්නත් ලෑස්ති තාත්තා වුණ තීන්දුවක් ගන්න. මේ පීඩාවල් අපිට ඉවසන්න බෑ. මේ පීඩාවල් අපිට ඉවසන්න බෑ. තාත්තා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ ලේකම්වරයා වෙලා තාත්තා මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ ඇමතිවරයෙක් වෙලා තාත්තට තියෙන මානසික පීඩා අපිට පේනවා.
If the secretary of this party and a government minister is under that much stress, then the people of this country know in their hearts the stress they are under. I express my gratitude to you once again, and I wish to state that with the support of the respected people of this country, I will definitely win an upcoming presidential election.
At this media briefing, Maithripala Sirisena also spoke of the steps that he would take in the future.
The General Secretary of the SLFP has been selected as the common candidate at this election. I am grateful the UNP-led Ranil Wickremesinghe and other political party representatives present here today and former President Chandrika Kumaratunga. I am especially grateful to Ranil Wickremesinghe and the UNP because the UNP has made a major sacrifice. At the upcoming election, cast your valuable vote for me. I call on the dear people of this country, where catastrophe has befallen the nation and the government, to give me the power to abolish the executive presidency within 100 days. Give me power, and I will abolish it within 100 days. Since I am coming forward for this election as the common candidate, I call on the commanders and the Army, Navy and the Inspector General of Police and the Police Department. I make the respectful request of them to please render their support to ensure a free and fair election. Do not bow down to any political force. I will appoint the current opposition leader, the leader of the United National Party, as the Prime Minister.
Maithripala Sirisena also pledged to abolish the 18th Amendment to the Constitution and to reinstate the 17th Amendment. Furthermore, he promised to take steps to ensure the independence of the police and the judiciary, to ensure true media freedom, to change the corrupt election system and to put a stop to corruption and fraud.
මගේ දේශපාලන මහගෙදරට නැවත මට
I'm truly happy that I have been given the opportunity to return to my ancestral political home.
අවස්ථාව ලැබීම ගැන මම විශේෂයෙන්ම සතුටු වෙනවා.
While several persons were opposed to it, I worked to seat Mahinda Rajapaksa on the seat of the president. 6 months later, steps were taken to evict me from the SLFP. We were born into the SLFP. We live in the SLFP and we fought within the SLFP. I was silent for 9 years. I was made to go to court. Certain things were done illegally and I could have opposed them, but I did not engage in such dirty work. The war was won. We are happy about it and we praised him and we continue to do so publicly. But they kept displaying the war victory and sent the man who won the war to prison. In the name of the war, they have stolen all the resources of the country and allowed corruption to be widespread in the country. While the country's resources were being stolen, various requests were made of me to come forward as a presidential candidate. I made a clear decision because I was not greedy for power. I remember that people from our party came to me and bowed and begged me, saying, "Madam, stay for another term," saying they could implement something like the 18th Amendment to enable me to stay for a third term. But I said no. I cast aside the document brought to me by those MPs. I believe that it would be treason to not pledge my support as an SLFPer to these great leaders who have come forward to rebuild the country. I'm not doing this with the expectation of receiving any position. When we leave this place, it is possible that we may have been evicted from our homes. Our security details may have been removed. I think it's truly great that they have taken this decision being fully aware of these consequences. I believed that I would have nothing to do with the political diaspora for this country. There's nothing left there. Of course, the president likes to use the word diaspora to refer to other things, but a section of this political diaspora has stepped out. They have rejected all the wrong that is happening there and they have come forward to ensure truth, justice and fairness.
සත්‍ය වෙනුවෙන් සාධාරණත්වයේ යුක්තිය නැවතවතාවක් මේ රටේ ගොඩනැගීම සඳහා
just to tell you මගේ වාහනේ බාර දෙන්න දැන් යෝග්‍යක
මගේ ඒවත් ගණිත දන්නේ මගේ දරුවන් විරුද්ධයි. කොටින්ම කිව්වේ මහින්ද අම්මිව මරයි. එන්න එපා.
අපි පාප කර්මයක් කරා 18 වෙනි සංශෝධනයට සමාවෙන්න. ඒ කරව පාප කර්මයෙන් අපි මිදෙන්නට ඒ 18 වෙනි සංශෝධනය අපි අයින් කළා.
We committed a sin by adopting the 18th Amendment. We beg your forgiveness. To free ourselves from the sin, we will abolish the 18th Amendment. From today onwards, we are in your hands. They will come and tell you to sling mud at us. They will assassinate our characters, and there may be physical assault or even killing. If I am killed along the way, then I call on you to carry my dead body forward and make Maithripala Sirisena the president, so we can rid ourselves of this cursed executive presidency. We are happy today that Ranil Wickremesinghe has made a historic sacrifice, and while people in his party called on him to take this up, he bowed out and secured a unanimous decision from the party to give this to Maithripala Sirisena, while he was the General Secretary of the SLFP. We have placed Maithripala Sirisena as the head. The arms and legs will join this body in the coming days, because you must have something to say next week too. This pilgrimage will not stop. It is possible we may have to send people out to search for what is left over. When this struggle concludes, we will have brought all of Sri Lanka to a singular position.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ තිබෙන්නේ මෙතනද නැත්නම් ජනාධිපති මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ගාවද?
සැබෑ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ තියෙන්නේ කොතනද කියලා මේ රටේ ජනතාව දන්නවා. ඒ නිසා ජනතාව තීන්දුව කරાવી සැබෑ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය කවුරුන් අතද තියෙන්නේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති කාගේ තියෙන්නේ කියලා මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස්තුමා කෙරෙහි මගේ ලොකු විශ්වාසයක් තිබෙනවා.
I have great faith in the Elections Commissioner. I call on the Elections Commissioner as an honest and respectful man to hold an unbiased, free and fair election.
Celebrations broke out in many areas of the country after it was announced that the General Secretary of the SLFP, Maithripala Sirisena, will be the common candidate.
Former UNP Pradesh Sabha member Chamila Ranasinghe has been seriously wounded following a shooting in the Margona town. The police media unit says the shooters were travelling in a black vehicle and had fled the scene soon after. The shooters had targeted a group of people lighting celebratory fireworks. Ranasinghe suffered a gunshot wound to the head and was admitted to the Nagoda hospital. The police say that steps had been taken to transfer him to the National Hospital in Colombo for further treatment. Now, President Mahinda Rajapaksa had decided to remove Maithripala Sirisena, Rajitha Senaratne, Duminda Dissanayake and MKDS Gunawardena from all their ministerial and deputy ministerial portfolios. Coordinating Secretary of the President's Media Unit, Vijayananda Herath, said that the President, in his capacity as the chairman of the SLFP, has also decided to remove them from all positions held in the party. Before announcing his appointment as the common candidate, Maithripala Sirisena attended an event in Battaramulla as the Minister of Health.
Minister Maithripala Sirisena presented appointment letters for the post of medical assistant, ward clerks, receptionist, as well as training and enrolment letters for nurses and food inspectors.
After 5.5 years of service as the Minister of Health, I am happy to be able to join you here at this occasion. I share happiness in being able to present these appointments to you, having worked with you in this time. As I have served your future and the country's future in the present, I look forward to continuing to serve you and the country with greater commitment in the future. I thank you all and wish you the blessings of the Triple Gem.
Minister Rajitha Senaratne attended an event held at the National Aquaculture Development Authority before attending the special media briefing in Colombo today.
World Fisheries Day was marked today under the auspices of Minister Rajitha Senaratne.
I do not come from this generation because if someone tries to grab my neck, I will grab his neck first. This is how I have journeyed for the past 40 years. How else would I have come?
When
they ousted Mubarak, he did not know why he was ousted. There was no leader. There was no organization. He was informed by SMS and email that he was ousted. I have never made a decision for my own benefit. That is not why I entered politics. I have earned a lot of money. I have established companies and earned millions and have given it to parties. I have given up all of these to enter a new chapter, and in this chapter, we have to save the country before we die. We will not entrust the state in this way to the next generation. We will forge ahead. May you be victorious.
The Working Committee of the United National Party unanimously decided to extend their fullest support to Maithripala Sirisena at the upcoming presidential election.
The Working Committee of the UNP convened a meeting in Sirikota, which is the UNP headquarters in Kotte, under the auspices of its national leader Ranil Wickremesinghe. A media briefing was convened to inform the decision made by the Working Committee. The UNP Working Committee has approved Maithripala Sirisena as the common candidate. We will render our fullest support to Maithripala Sirisena. This was a unanimous decision.
General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance, Minister Susil Premajayantha, says that the presidential election will be held prior to Pope Francis's visit to the country. He made this comment after a meeting between the General Secretaries and the Elections Commissioner today.
General Secretaries of several political parties attended the meeting at the Election Secretariat. After the discussion, the following views were expressed to the media. Individuals who held the position of General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party had on previous occasions left the party and contested under the ticket of another party. In 2001, Minister S.B. Dissanayake, who held the post of General Secretary, left the party to contest the general elections. I have no intention of doing so. We remain with the SLFP policies. The UPFA has the highest number of MPs in Parliament in the history of the party, which is 162. People have different aspirations. According to the Elections Commissioner, the election will be held prior to the arrival of the Pope.
Is it the Elections Commissioner or the astrologer who decided the date of the election? We discussed this matter. This is an election which will change an era. This needs to be a just election. If not, the international attempts against Sri Lanka will gain more ground and strength.
Sri Lankaවට එරෙහිව ගෙනියන ඒ වටලෑම තවදුරටත් ශක්තිමත් වෙන එක තියෙනවා. දිනය සම්බන්ධයෙන් පත්තරේ හැමතැනම දාලා තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේ ජනවාරි 8 වෙනි දවසේ කියලා.
The newspapers report that according to astrology, the elections will be held on the 8th of January. We said that if he is an independent elections commissioner, the elections cannot be held on the 8th. Media freedom is the third pillar and the arrival of observers is the fourth. There need to be observers when the ballot is counted and also to prevent intimidation.
ඇමති මණ්ඩලේ කට්ටිය යන්න ඒ වගේ තර්ජන කිරීමේ හැකියාව නැති කරන්න කියන එක
වෙච්ච සියලු දේම
I have said everything that needs to be said on Wednesday. I mentioned of a just rule.
කිව්වනේ ධර්මිෂ්ඨ සමාජයට මෛත්‍රී පාලනයක්. දැන් ඒක හරිනේ.
The date of the elections has already been decided. There are no nominations. It will be held on the 8th. The IGP cannot make it on the 10th, and someone else cannot make it on the 9th. So there is the 8th. What falls on the 8th of January is the birthday of the late Bandaranayaka.
ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? බණ්ඩාරනායක මහත්තයාගේ ජන්මදිනය.
අපි මේ මැතිවරණය මේ ජනාධිපතිවරණයේ කැඳවීම
The JVP holds with its stance that this is an illegal election. Therefore, taking into account what happens in the future, the JVP Central Committee will take a decision.
මධ්‍යම කාරක සභාව ඊට අදාළ සුදුසු තීන්දුව තීරණයන් වලට එළඹෙවි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියනවා.
මේ වෙන විට ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයන්ගේ
At present, the Elections Commissioner has only received the names of 2 persons as candidates for the presidential election. One is President Mahinda Rajapaksa, and the other is, I believe, Venerable Battaramulle Silaratanatero. I handed in my name to contest for the presidential election.
අද දින මම බාර දුනා ජනාධිපති මැතිවරණ ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා කියලා.
The ruling UPFA-2 convened a special media briefing in Colombo today. Representatives of several constituent parties of the UPFA were present at this occasion.
මේ වන විට අපි ජනාධිපතිවරණයකට අවතීර්ණ වෙලා සිටිනවා. මේ සඳහා අපි එක්සත් ජනතා නිදහස් සන්ධානයේ ඊයේ
We are now involved in a presidential election. The UPFA Executive Committee met last evening regarding this matter. The decision made by the President to contest for the presidency again as a leader of the SLFP was referred to the UPFA Executive Committee by the SLFP General Secretary. The proposal was seconded at the UPFA Executive Committee meeting held yesterday. The unanimous decision was taken to put forward His Excellency President Mahinda Rajapaksa as the presidential candidate of the UPFA. We have held discussions with all UPFA parties represented in Parliament and have reached agreements. There is no problem. We are used to this. A leader must be able to face challenges when they arise. That is leadership. There is no country in the world where a group has brought forward a person saying that they are the common candidates, that they are the leader, and have gone on to govern.
ඒකට සාර්ථකව මුහුණ දෙන්න පුළුවන් නායකයා. මේකව කට්ටියක් එකතු වෙලා මෙන්න මෙයා පොදු අපේක්ෂකයා, මෙයා අපේ නායකයා මේකට ගිලත් එහෙම ගෙනල්ලා රටවල් පාලනය කරපු තැනක් ලෝකේ කොහෙවත් නැහැ.
යම් ආකාරයක 2010 බැරි වෙච්ච වැඩේ කරගන්න කුමන්ත්‍රණකාරී මෙහෙයුමක්.
A major conspiracy has been initiated to do what could not be done in 2010. What we can say is that Fonseca shouldered that burden because of his ignorance of politics. Any person that understands politics will not shoulder that sin. If they can win, then why should Ranil ask anyone else to come forward? In 2010, he entrapped Fonseca, and I think this time some other person would be entrapped.
ඒ පැත්තෙන් නම් දැන් මේ මොඩියෝ අඩුයි. ඒ බිල්ලට අහු වෙන්න තුන්ගුණ දුල් බිල්ලට විපක්ෂයෙන් නම් දැන් මං හිතන්නේ කවුරු කරගන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් විරුද්ධ පක්ෂ
There are less fools on that side today that will get caught to this. There is no one in the opposition now to shoulder this burden. They will capture someone from somewhere. They will put on various dancers. They can put forward anyone and it will not be a problem. No matter who gets caught to these falsehoods or who shoulders the contract of sinful forces, Fonseca can now understand the truth and others will see it come April next year.
කවුරු මොන විදියට අර පාපී බලවේගවල කොන්ත්‍රාත්තුව කරගැහුවත් ෆොන්සේකා මහත්තයාට අද තේරෙන ඇත්ත තව කාට හරි අප්‍රේල් මාසෙ වෙනකොට ලබන අවුරුද්ද තේරෙයි. මොනව කරන්නද ඉතින් අපිට බෑනේ මොලේ දෙන්න. කවුරු කරගැහුවත් අපිට කියන්න වෙන්නේ අනේ පොත්.
Minister Janaka Bandara Thenekone expressed his disappointment with regard to certain actions by the government in Parliament. He expressed his views at the debate on the expenditure heads of the Ministry of Land and Land Development in Parliament today.
A deputy minister from Matle took photos and made a cow of him distributing land deeds without informing the ministry. This is the truth. I made a complaint to the president with regard to this matter. The president said that he will address this problem and come to a decision. But up to date, he has not given a decision. The problem here is that the people who deal with ethanol and drugs have entered parliament, and this is where the deterioration started. I'm truly saddened that we are made to live in such a political era.
The issue of land acquisition in the northern province also came up in parliament today.
வடக்கு கிழக்கில் அதாவது வட மாகாணத்தில்
The Navy and Army have been acting arbitrarily in acquisitioning lands in the northern province. They are acquisitioning lands in the Valikamam, Tiruvadigal, Madaka, Elephant Pass and other areas. Are they going to give these lands to China? Are they going to use it to build camps for the Navy? Or are they acquiring the lands to settle Sinhalese people here? The lands of people who are displaced in the north have been acquired. They are living in the Sivadipulli camp. These lands are private property. What right does the army have to go there and survey private property? The people who live on these lands are fishermen. They are threatening these people and the landowners in order to acquire the land. As public representatives, we will not allow this to take place. Therefore, the government and the Ministry of Defence must immediately put a stop to this.
யாழ்தேவி திறப்பதற்கும் ஜனாதிபதி வருகைக்கும் இரண்டு வித்தியாசங்கள் இருக்கின்றது. நீங்கள் ஒன்றை பார்க்க வேண்டும். பிரித்தானிய அரசாங்கத்தினால் தான்
There are many differences between the arrival of the Yaldevi and the arrival of the president. It was the British government that first built the Yaldevi line. Just because the British built the railway line, it does not mean that they have to get involved in local politics. Therefore, there is no need for us to support the government just because the Yaldevi came here.
யாழ்தேவியை தருவதற்காக நாங்கள் அரசாங்கத்தை ஆதரிக்க வேண்டும் என்பதும் அரசியல் செல்வாக்கு தேட வேண்டும் என்று இல்லை. ஆகவே
This is done on the initiative of the president with the assistance from India.
நீங்களும் அந்த யுத்தத்தில் ஆயுதம் ஏந்தியதன் காரணமாகத்தான் இன்று அமைச்சராக இருக்கிறீர்கள்.
You have been appointed a minister today because you took up arms. If not, you would not be a minister. Why did we go to war? This must be understood. Successive governments did not give us our rights. That is why the war occurred.
இதன் காரணமாகத்தான் ஆயுதம் ஏந்தி போராட வேண்டிய நிலை ஏற்பட்டது. இதை நீங்கள் புரிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும்.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that he will emerge victorious at the 29th election. He made this statement at an event held in Campbell Park, Borella today.
The first National Divi Nagama Convention was held under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa in Campbell Park, Borella today. Over 50,000 persons representing 1,073 Divi Nagama banks were present at this occasion. In 2006, poverty stood at 15.2%. However, this number had reduced to 6.7 today. This is the exact reason we have won 28 elections. We will also emerge victorious in the 29th election. There is no doubt about it. We believe in the people. We have fulfilled your aspirations. I believe that we are able to bring in vigor for your son and daughter to take over the future. That is the change we have brought in.
Significant losses were witnessed today at the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The Bourse fell by 1.7% today, with the benchmark ASPI shedding 128.71 points and the S&P index losing 63.65 points. The ASPI, which surpassed 7,500 points last week, had fallen to 7,401 points by the end of trading today.
Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, says that those in the corporate world have a special responsibility to help the nation achieve its potential. He made this statement at the Business Today Top 25 2013-2014 award ceremony, which was held in Colombo yesterday.
As Sri Lanka strives to become the wonder of Asia, those in the corporate world have a special responsibility to help the nation to achieve its economic potential. While the government will do its best to maintain a conducive environment for development, it is the private sector that must take the bold steps needed for strong economic growth. The natural consequences of increasing per capita income is that the expectations of people also rise. Reforms and ideas that could only be dreamt of in years past are now being demanded virtually instantly by some sections of our society. While this is perfectly understandable, we should not lose sight of the journey on which we have come.
John Keel's Holdings plc managed to retain their number 1 position in the top 25. The company, which began in 1870 as a produce and exchange brokering business, was newly incorporated in 1986 as John Keel's Holdings. Currently chaired by Susantha Ratnayaka, John Keel's Holdings is Sri Lanka's largest listed conglomerate in the Colombo Stock Exchange. From managing the largest number of hotel rooms in Sri Lanka to owning the largest private sector-owned transportation business in the country, providing port and marine fuel service to IT solutions, manufacturing of food and beverages to running a chain of supermarkets, tea brokering to stock brokering, banking to real estate, John Keel's Holdings has made its presence felt in virtually every major sphere of the economy.
How will the free trade agreement with China affect Sri Lanka? What are the opportunities and challenges for trade with China? Doing business with China, FTA and beyond. A forum for CEOs, strategists and decision makers on Wednesday, the 26th of November 2014 from 2 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. at On Golden Pond, Taj Samudra. Organised by Verite Research and the Exporters Association of Sri Lanka, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. For details, call Manori at the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce on 0777 223 651.
The Office of the Police Media spokesperson says that no information has come to light on the whereabouts of the principal of the Heva Vitarana Mahavidyalaya in Rajagiriya, who disappeared over 2 days ago.
A protest was staged opposite the school today after a religious event this morning. The staff of the school, the students and parents took part in the protest.
We are saddened by this situation because we never expected it.
The staff and the students organised a peaceful satyagraha over the principal's disappearance. We request that our principal be found. We are not mentally prepared for this. We do not feel like working. They cannot say that he ran away. We are here all night.
The exams went on as planned, but no one is in a good mental state. They are depressed over the principal's disappearance. That is why we held this protest.
In sports, it's cricket news. England recorded a 56-run Duckworth-Lewis method win over Sri Lanka A in a practice match played in Colombo today.
Sri Lanka A skipper Ashan Priyanjana won the toss at the SSC grounds today and decided to take first lease of the wicket. Sri Lanka A posted 198 runs on the board in 43 overs, losing 6 wickets. Kusal Pereira was top scorer for the home side with 56 runs, while Jeevan Mendes was unbeaten on 42 and Ramith Rambukwella on 31 runs not out. England were given a target of 199 runs, however it was revised after bad light stopped play. At that point, the visitors won 145 runs for the loss of 2 wickets. Thereby, the visitors won the game by 56 runs according to the Duckworth-Lewis method.
And that is a wrap of today's edition of News First Primetime News. It was a pleasure having you with us. For the News First team, I am Shahin Jarangpati.
And I'm Rahna Farooq. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.